decision to hit the sack. But I thought I could read to you, and I will be nourishing your minds with some Bloodborne item descriptions. You don't have to have played the game to appreciate these. Bloodborne has a pretty opaque story. You don't really know what's going on anyway, so you pretty much learn most of the lore from reading item descriptions. There's not much to spoil, but if you haven't played the game and you want to go in blind, it's a very magical experience, then don't pay attention. Before I start though, I just wanna, if you like this, subscribe, because I make a lot of video game and horror related content. It might be your thing. Okay, I'll start with some of the consumables. Antidote. Antidote. Small medicinal tablets that counteract poison. Used to treat ashen blood, the baffling sickness that ravaged old Yarnum long ago. These tablets only provide short-term relief. The ashen blood ailment eventually triggered the spread of the beastly scourge. Next we have Beast Blood Pellet. Beast Blood Pellet. Large medicinal pellets, supposedly formed of coagulated beast blood. Banned by the Healing Church due to their unclear origin. Grants a spurt of beasthood. Ripping apart the flesh of one's enemies and being rained upon by their splattering blood invigorates one's sense of beasthood, feeding strength and euphoric feeling alike. This next item can only be obtained in the DLC, The Old Hunters, which if you haven't played it or you plan to play Bloodborne, I'd say the DLC is a must. Blood taken from Adeline, patient of the research hall, restores HP and continues to rejuvenate HP for some time. Adeline was originally one of the blood saints who received treatment by the church to cultivate worthy blood. Adeline's was one of the few cases that turned out favorably. Blood of Adeline. Next we have another very special blood. Blood of Adela. Blood taken from Adela, nun of the Healing Church. Restores an amount of HP, then continues to gradually restore HP for a short time. The Healing Church nuns are chosen for their merit as vessels for blood, and groomed as blood saints. The mere chance of being treated with their blood lends legitimacy to the Healing Church and communion. another special blood vial from a character I really like. Blood of Ariana. Blood taken from Ariana, Cathedral Ward, Woman of the Night. The sweet blood of Ariana restores HP, temporarily speeds stamina recovery. A member of the Old Healing Church would know that her blood is similar to precisely what was once forbidden. Now we have blood vial. Just your regular old blood vial. Special blood used administration. Restores HP. Once a patient has had their blood ministered, unique but common treatment in Yarnum. Successive infusions recall the first, and are all the more invigorating for it. No surprise that most Yarnumites are heavy users of blood. I like the way that user is used there. The way we talk about drugs and such. Great One's wisdom. Fragments of the lost wisdom of the Great Ones. Beings that might be described as gods. Used to gain insight. At Bergenworth, Master Willem had an epiphany. We are thinking on the basest of planes. What we need are more eyes. That's crazy. Switching hands with my mic to cover my ugly face. Okay. Yosefka's blood vial. Blood vial acquired from Yosefka's clinic. This refined blood, highly invigorating, restores a larger amount of HP. The product of a slow and careful refinement process, this rare blood vial appears to be a clinic original. Madman's knowledge. Skull of a madman touched by the wisdom of the Great Ones. Used to gain insight. Making contact with eldritch wisdom is a blessing, for even if it drives one mad, it allows one to serve a grander purpose for posterity. Sedative. Liquid medicine concocted at Bergenworth calms the nerves. Those who delve into the arcane fall all too easily to madness, and thick human blood serves to calm the frayed nerves of these inquisitive minds. Naturally, this often leads to a reliance on blood ministration. bodies in the game. Presumably they make up an entire umbilical cord. A great relic, also known as the cord of the eye. Every infant Great One has this precursor to the umbilical cord. Every Great One loses its child and then yearns for a surrogate. The third umbilical cord precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, which beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. Erden, the formless Great One, is no different. To think it was corrupted blood that began this eldritch liaison. Provost Willem sought the cord in order to elevate his being and thoughts to those of a Great One. By lining his brain with eyes. The only choice he knew, if man were to ever match their greatness. This cord granted Mensis audience with Murgo, but resulted in the stillbirth of their brains. Those Mensis scholars you meet in the game are out of their minds. I totally understand what they mean. Used to gain insight and, so they say, eyes on the inside. Although no one remembers what that truly entails. Okay, we're through the recovery items. And I think I'm gonna pick some random key items that I think are cool. Erden Tomb Key. Key to the gate that blocks the tomb of Erden. Beyond the tomb, Erden Chapel can be found in the center of the cathedral ward. Only today, the church is abandoned, and some say that the residents of Erden have all gone mad. Key to the gate that blocks the tomb of Erden. Beyond the tomb, Erden Chapel can be found in the center of the cathedral ward. Only today, the church is abandoned, and some say that the residents of Erden have all gone mad. This one is called Tonsil Stone. I thought it was awesome when I found this item in the game because I knew what if you know what a tonsil stone is in real life, it's really disgusting, and it's just really cool that they gave you basically the tonsil stone of a god. Bizarre. A latticed, deformed rock, or perhaps a meteorite, appears useless, but possesses some old gravitational force that prevents its riddance. A dubious soul once said, "Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral, and seek an ancient, shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will guide you strength." It's Patches the spider. Oh, Amygdala. Oh, Amygdala. That's one of my favorite scenes is when Patches is being a weirdo and amygdala. The god is literally just named Amygdala, but they pronounce it different. I was inspired to write poetry after playing this game. That's something that happens to me is when I play a video game with cool terminology, I get linguistically inspired. Where's I'm gonna read the Pungent Blood Cocktail because that's one of my favorites. Pungent Blood Cocktail. Mature blood cocktail that releases a pungent odor when thrown that attracts bloodthirsty beasts. A precious tool in sadly short supply. That's an iambic pentameter. In Yarnum, they produce more blood than alcohol, as the former is the more intoxicating. A precious tool in sadly short supply. The pungent blood cocktail led me to name this whole element of the poetry manuscript I just finished, the cocktails. And there's a poem called The Cocktails. And it's like a eldritch thing, like in the game. Everyone loves this one. This is the tiny music box. A small music box received from a young Yarnum girl plays a song shared by her mother and father. Inside the lid is a small scrap of paper, perhaps an old message. Two names can be made out, however faintly. Viola and Gascoigne. Bold hunter's mark. Dangling, upside down rune etched in the mind of a hunter. This reminder allows one to envision the rune with clarity. Allows a hunter to awaken again without losing blood echoes. A trick that seems nearly too good to be true. Brain fluid. I'm reading this one because one of the dialogue lines that sticks with me the most from the game is in the DLC lecture hall. You meet those people who are just nothing but heads now because of the experiments being done on them by the deranged healing church. And one of them is a woman, and she's talking about the drip of water, and she's like, I don't know, that was absolutely brilliant, the voice acting and just the writing and everything in that part. They're like obsessed with the sound of water and stuff, and it's their insight into like the eldritch wisdom and the visions they're having and stuff, and they're like completely out of their minds and hallucinating, but I think just actually seeing and she I think it's Adeline asks for murky, mushy brain fluid. Like it just sounds so delicious to her. Oh, I guess there's 3 brain fluid descriptions. Grayish, amoeba-shaped brain fluid wobbles and bounces. Extracted from a patient whose head expanded until that was all they were. In the early days of the healing church, great ones were linked to the ocean, and so the cerebral patients would imbibe water and listen for the howl of the sea. Brain fluid writhed inside the head, the initial makings of internal eyes. Once, a young girl had an older brother who was determined to become a doctor, and so she willfully became his patient. In the end, this led to their encounter with the eldritch truth, for which they considered themselves blessed. We fail to realize our own latent potential until the moment is lost and we sense its absence. Ironically, this is the very nature of insight, like the moment one licks one's own blood, only to be startled by its sweetness. I think I just said latent. I think it's pronounced latent, but who cares? I never complain about that with other people. For some reason I get insecure when I pronounce something funny. I'm gonna skip everything having to do with Kanehurst because I don't care for Kanehurst. Leave me an insulting comment if you're a Kanehurst fan. Every other fan I've met has loved Kanehurst, just not me. I'm gonna check out the Crow Hunter badge because that comes from my girl Eileen the Crow. Badge of a hunter of hunters, who hunts those who have become addled with blood. The badge of the hunter of hunters is quietly passed down from generation to generation, usually to an outsider from the hinterlands. To be entrusted with this cursed badge, one must be strong, resilient to the seduction of blood, and gracious when taking a comrade's life. Let's see. What items? Should I read about? Beast Roar. One of the forbidden hunter tools made by a Reverend Dizzy. Borrow the strength of the terrible undead dark beasts, if only for a moment, to blast surrounding foes back with the force of a roaring beast. The indescribable sound is broadcast with the caster's own vocal cords, which begs the question, what terrible things lurk deep within the frames of men? Madara's whistle. Whistle of the Madara's twins. Madaras, I don't know. Denizens of the Forbidden Woods. The twins grew up alongside a poisonous snake and developed a silent, inhuman kinship. The poisonous snake grew uncontrollably, raised on a healthy diet of beast entrails. Yum. Even after their deaths, it is said to respond to the call of the twins' whistle from within the nightmare. I'm gonna read this one because I love using it. Augur of Abredis. Remnant of the eldritch truth encountered at Bergenworth. Use phantasms, the invertebrates known to be augurs of the Great Ones, to partially summon abandoned Abredis. The initial encounter marked the start of an inquiry into the cosmos from within the old labyrinth, and led to the establishment of the choir. I screen recorded some Bloodborne gameplay once to do ASMR with. I was gonna do like some Bloodborne gameplay. Unfortunately, some kind of technical difficulty happened. It was a real pain, but I absolutely owned a hunter with the Augur of Abredis, and it was the coolest thing I've done in that game, I swear. And I don't get to share it with anyone. Makes me sad. But I'm on like a new game plus. I haven't played Bloodborne in a while. I got burned out, but I have all my stats up to the hard cap. But so now I'm just maxing Arcane because like Arcane has benefits up to like level 90, 99 or something. So things like Augur of Abredis and then this next item are very fun and effective. If there's a Bloodborne sequel, I want more arcane abilities. This item is a Call Beyond. One of the secrets of the choir. Long ago, the Healing Church used phantasms to reach a lofty plane of darkness, but failed to make contact with the outer reaches of the cosmos. The rite failed to achieve its intended purpose, but instead created a small exploding star, now a powerful part of the choir's arsenal. At times, failure is the mother of invention. It's funny that A Call Beyond is associated with the choir because when you fight Mikolash, he uses A Call Beyond, and I remember that because I got owned by it several times, which is a pain because it's a very long boss battle. But anyway, I wonder why Mikolash had A Call Beyond, if there's any significance to that, since the choir and Mensis are kind of enemies. Although I know it originated with the Healing Church, probably before the split, or whatever you'd call it. I'm gonna read The Orphanage Key. The Orphanage Key. Key to the orphanage, birthplace of the choir. The orphanage, shadowed by the Grand Cathedral, was a place of scholarship and experimentation, where young orphans became potent, unseen thinkers for the Healing Church. The choir, that would later split from the Healing Church, was a creation of the orphanage. The orphanage is extremely messed up. The scariest part of the game, I think. Just the most stressful. There's a ton of scourge beasts, and there's those so many brain suckers, which are terrible because they take your insight, which is just awful. It's hard to get insight. And also the fact that they're experimenting on children. And they turned, I don't know, I'm silly, I don't know if the cosmic kin are humans. Yeah, they are, because that imposter in Yosefka's clinic is turning people into them. I still, don't fully, I'm a bimbo and I don't, remember things. I don't remember all the lore that I've read. Pebble. Small pebbles found throughout Yarnum can be thrown at foes. Quite thrilling. That one's cute. And then if you look at the pebble, it's an eye that appears to be ossified. I don't know exactly what that means, but I think the runes have really interesting descriptions. I think I'll end on some runes. Arcane Lake. A carol rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. This transcription of the Great Ones in human voices ripples like a watery reflection. This rune means lake, and those who memorize it enjoy reduced arcane damage. Great volumes of water serve as a bulwark guarding sleep, and an augur of the eldritch truth. Overcome this hindrance and seek what is yours. Beast. A secret symbol left by Carol, runesmith of Bergenworth. A transcription of the roar of a labyrinth beast. The bear of the beast rune has accentuated transformation effects. Beast is one of the early Carol runes, as well as the first to be deemed forbidden. The discovery of blood entailed the discovery of undesirable beasts. Side note, I love Carol because, he transcribed things that were not in language, but he was able to transcribe it in the correct way for human comprehension. It's just funny, was he just listening to these eldritch shrieks and then being like, oh, that's what that's shaped like? It's very spooky and goofy and cool. Eye rune. I love the eye rune. A secret symbol left by Carol, runesmith of Bergenworth. A transcription of I, as spoken by left behind Great Ones, allows one to make additional discoveries. Eyes symbolize the truth Master Willem sought in his research. Disillusioned by the limits of human intellect, Master Willem looked to beings from higher planes for guidance, and sought to line his brain with eyes in order to elevate his thoughts. Milkweed rune from the DLC. A carol rune envisioned by Adeline, patient of the research hall. A transcription of the inhuman, sticky whispers that reveal the nature of a celestial attendant. Those who take this oath become a lumen wood that peers towards the sky, feeding phantasms in its luscious bed. Phantasms guide us and lead us to further discoveries. Hunter Rune. A carol rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. This red smudged rune means hunter, and has been adopted by those who have taken the Hunter of Hunters oath. These watchmen admonish those who have become addled with blood, be they men or beasts. Anyone who has threatened the pledgers of the Hunter oath surely has an issue with blood. If there is a sequel, I would really like to know more about Eileen's people and her homeland, because all it says is she comes from a faraway land, and also they worship the sky, or somehow from the sky. It sounds very, very interesting. Would be a great change of scenery. With Eileen, there's an item that says something about suggests a sky burial, which would be sick. I would like to be buried in the sky when I die. I'm going to end on the small hair ornament. A small, very ordinary hair ornament. Although it has been lost for quite some time, one can still see signs of the care with which this tasteful ornament was once kept. Its color would stand out most brilliantly against a head of grayish hair. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. But hopefully you're not even here anymore. Hopefully you're fast asleep. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you liked it.